Hi everyone, hey, so good to be with you again. As you all remember, on Sunday, the 1st of August, I preached a sermon entitled, When the Storms Are Raging, Anchor Deep. And it's all part of the Caught in Chaos series that you've been going through as a church. And so over the next 5 days, I'm going to share just very short thoughts on the promises of God's word for every single one of us. And so here's the first one today, the promise of his presence that, and so years ago, many years ago, there was a guy that wrote a book called Brother Lawrence, wrote a book called Practice the Presence of God. And it was such a great reminder for us that God is present. He's everywhere. He's here right now with us. He's with you. He's all everywhere. But what he challenged us was to say to raise our awareness of God's presence. And one of the things I remember many years ago, one of my teachers reminded me that one of the ways that I can do that is to use the senses. We have 5. We have sight, we have sound, we have smell, we've got taste, and also we've got touch. And so each one of those senses, your sight, what is it that I'm looking at, where, and as I look around, I see God's creation, reminds me that He is present. Sounds, maybe you remember back to worship song, or maybe there's a sound that for you just it feels amazing, and it reminds you of God's presence. Maybe smells, this could be a tricky one, but maybe the smell of, for me, freshly baked bread as it comes out of the oven, or you're somewhere and that bread, because when you break open the bread at communion, it reminds you of Jesus and reminds you of God's provision for grace. And then maybe the taste that, when there's a meal that you really enjoy, and as you sit down to that meal, the taste is just wow, and you remembered God. And maybe touch. When you maybe hold that baby for the very first time, or when you're walking in grass just after it's rained, that feeling reminds you of the presence. And so I want to encourage you that today, as you pause and reflect on Sunday's message, will you think about using your senses to raise your awareness for the presence of God?